Hello. Welcome. It is maybe a short stream, maybe not. What we've got going on is early season reviews. So if you've got any sort of solo, tandem team, whatever you got going on, as long as it's new content from this season, I'm looking for from this season only. We're going to be doing some reviews of that. So I've only had 4 submissions. This is the first time we're doing it, so we'll see. As such, I mean, it has to be uploaded to YouTube. And then if you want to share a YouTube link with me, once I'm done with these 4 submissions, I'll take requests from chat. So, hey, what's up? So, yeah, happy Thursday. What's up, Dan? Fives Clone, welcome. Shane Skits, hello. Or Jack Shane Skits. Jack's Shane Skits. Paul, hello. You sent in your video, didn't add any information. Sorry about that. I can look it up. Oh, you're talking about for a qualification? We're not doing qualifications today, so don't worry too much about that. Yeah, Dan, everyone, I was sick pretty much for like 2 weeks. So we're going to be back to like regular videos starting next week here. But I literally just like didn't have the voice to go film. So I'm glad I got the sickness early. What's up, Alex? Alex, did you get your sling today? Today or yesterday, probably. Next qualifying stream is in 2 weeks. So I'm going to try and do a 2-week cycle where once a month we do this kind of stream, once a month we do a qualification stream, and then they rotate on like a 2-month rotating window. So that's the idea. Oof. Hopefully that's not too loud.
I remember when we used to come to places like this just to look at each other.
Just feels too quiet. Lo-fi's a good vibe while we're all kind of getting... it's just like a recording of a lo-fi. Just a random one I clicked on here. The bootleg boy usually has some really nice beats. Full Ninja kicking your butt. Yeah, it gets everybody. Although I remember teaching it to Chelsea Holiday, and she could do it as long as she didn't look at it. It's super weird, but worked for her. So double OTH is only 1.5. So you had to, yeah, it's scary. Yeah, Paul. Would it be under your name if I searched your name? Hey, do you possibly know when the all-service website will actually work? I don't know exactly when. I do know that Samantha's really been wanting to make a whole bunch of changes to it, so I imagine they're trying to get set up for January, would be my guess here. So that way when those registrations start cycling in, it's all on the new system. If I had to guess. Paul, you can just resend it, by the way. As long as it's a YouTube link, I trust YouTube to do some moderation, and I'll open those up without seeing it on screen.
Now must be our moment for action. The time to answer humankind's greatest challenge is now.
So, man, how's life been for everybody? I feel like the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks have been the most transformational time for like tons of people I know. How's that hit with you guys? You guys making big strides, just big decisions, big changes in your life? Also, new banner on the Drill Dojo site. So I want to move this to like a tag over here. But yeah, this is the World Drill Championships 2025 competitors here, right up on the front page. So I'm pretty happy to have this up. So at least at some point during the year, I want to get the fun picture as the banner. I don't know how long it'll stay up or not, but yeah, let's get it. Cowboys are looking good. Remotivated for drill. Yeah, everyone got sick. That's the truth. So I don't really watch football until it's playoffs. But the Bucks have been winning every game by like 2 points, and that's the team I follow, so that's been great. Literally 3 points against the Seahawks on a 38-35 scoreline is crazy. They beat the Jets by 2 points. They beat the Texans by 1. Lost to the Eagles. Those games must be awesome to watch. I just don't watch them until the playoffs. Been getting good with bladed drill. College is going great. Alex, you're in Florida. Without doxing yourself, you don't have to overshare. What college are you going to? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Tons of people are just like, I go to a college, you know. But is it UCF? I will be, I just got hired on to be a long-term sub for the Lake Mary High School and JRTC. So that's literally like this week kind of news. So I'm really excited to get started. I'll probably start next week, and that's just going to be a fun adventure. So, we'll see where long-term sub leads. I was trying to angle for a full JRTC position not too long ago, and maybe this will help strengthen my case. You finally finished Echoes of Wisdom, and now you're playing Final Fantasy Tactics re-release. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to finish Echoes of Wisdom. I think it's going to stay on my shelf, never to be seen again. It just didn't click with me. But I've been playing Hades 2, which on my Steam Deck, which that game's phenomenal. So Hades 1 was a great game. Hades 2 is just as good. All right. I'll let you know when it comes in, Paul. Could take a minute or two. In West Virginia, American Public... Okay. Doing it online. Okay. That makes sense. I was like, I know where I sent your sling. And it wasn't West Virginia. Yeah. Echoes would have been a great game for the Wii U. It really needed a second screen where you can select just straight from the second screen like what you wanted. So I feel like it missed the mark. Even like 3DS, it wasn't a game that should have been on the Switch. You're a sophomore trying your best to go to Daytona your senior year, part of a distinguished unit and JRTC in South Carolina. Would love to meet me one day. Any tips to get better faster? Yeah, I built a whole curriculum for it. Just follow the curriculum. I put so much thought into how this progresses. And so it should make a lot of sense as you go in order. So just get certified, and you're going to get better faster. Now, I'm starting to come out with style guide stuff. Those are going to help you change up your style quite a bit. I feel like, everyone goes to the system and learns the same stuff, so we all end up looking the same. So the style guide packages, and you'll see them in, they're starting to come out, and there'll be one for every single trick, no matter how creative or uncreative I think I can get. Sorry. Just trying to, convince you to try different ways of doing things. So check those out as you see them. Even if you're experienced, as these style guides pop up on this channel, you definitely want to take a look at them, because there's no difficulty level that I set on it, because it's literally like anything I could think of. Paul, did you send it to drilldojo@gmail.com? I still didn't get it. I'll type it in the chat here. Gmail. That's where you want to send it if it's not going there. If it is, I don't know why I'm not getting it. You can just copy paste the YouTube link here and I'll get it. Recording your practices too. Yeah. Make your own trick library. So the trick library has helped my drill in 2 ways. Number one, I would not put something online unless I did it well. And that forced me to really think about like what makes a trick good. And then number two, when I had an extensive trick library built and I'm doing routine construction, I go to my trick library to remember tricks that I've forgotten about. And so it helps me build routines too, because I'm like, oh, I'll just throw that trick in there and then comes right together. For BTBs and varials, you're trying to learn zygotic and do double BTB power consistently right now. So for BTBs, you're just going to have to know that like it's going to hurt. So there's that. Catch those earlier than you think you should, and it'll balance out. And you're going to build into every new BTB over the course of like several days, because your hands just like aren't ready for the impact, and so it's going to hurt until your brain can kind of like adapt to it, right? It's like when you first like try, if you've ever done like an egg toss, if you're not expecting the egg, like because we expect the egg to crack, we're able to like soften the catch, but like if someone was throwing rocks that way, you probably like have a much harder catch on it, right? So the brain's got to learn how it's going to crack into place, and that helps with the hands a lot. So you're just going to have to build into it a lot. With varials, you have to understand that if you throw a triple varial, it looks like a double. Every varial you do will feel under rotated quite a bit, and then when you look at the video, you're like, no, that was a triple. So single hardest trick I've done in competition, it was just 2016. Just everything in 2016. That whole routine was built to be a showcase of everything difficult that I could do. And it continues to be one of the highest difficulty routines out there. So, all right, let's get going here with at least the 4 people who submitted for review, right? So we're going to do in order of how they came in. So we need Bryson Maples. And then the Singaporean video, we're going to have to, in Singapore, they've just got different solutions. So it's going to be stick drill. And then we got 2 FLDC entrants. Manuel is the winner of the high school, or not high school. I'm going to need to do something about the volume here. I was the winner of FLDC. And, wait, hold on. Was that? Yeah. Manuel was the winner. And Michael was the Driller's Choice Award. Pretty sure of that. Yeah. I think that's right. So we're going to see what makes a Driller's Choice Award different from, like, winning. Yeah, it's literally you're unwinding a varial as you're turning. Like, you are... I can think of 1,000 ways to describe it, and they're all going to be confusing, right? So... yeah, Michael, I can just hold off until you tell me. I'm not sure how long this stream's going to be. Probably like 45 minutes to an hour. Not too long, though. I plan on going to Golden Bear not in 2026, but probably 2027. Life depending. My life kind of shifts on the regular, so we will see what life has in store for me by then. I am not a consistent person. All right, so this is Bryson Maples with the Arizona State Championship solo routine. Let's get a little context. Quality of 360. Okay. Higher video quality is always better if you can manage it. If you if you have your phone with you, go through your camera settings and try and look for 1080p. I get a lot of 360p submissions, and they're all a little bit grainy. 1080p, if your phone can do it, which most phones can these days. All right, Bryson is Maroon Sling qualified. So we're just going to watch and enjoy, and I'll give my thoughts. So good report in. I'd put you in like the high teens, I think, out of 30, right? I guess the score sheet goes to 15, so you're looking at like 10 or 11 here. I see a lot of things that you're going for, and I think it works really well for you with the pace change. The vocals are great here. So right there, you set a beat and a cadence, and then you lost it immediately. So you were ta 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 ta, and now your steps need to be ta 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 ta, and they lost that beat there, right? So ta 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 ta, left, right, left, right. See, I was like just a little bit off, but it was just enough to bother me, right? So when you set that beat, you can go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, but you have to keep on that same beats per minute. It feels here that you just didn't know what to do there. I would rather see like a vertical stop there, or take a look at the style guide for backy fourthy or a single back. And there's a couple of cool little nuanced tricks you could do there that might be able to get you into good position here. The slow walk to the judge, it was good for getting position, but I do want to see like something there, because this is, I would maybe do the OTH while walking. And then this was good, but I think you hit the right spot to get ready for present arms, and then you like walked away from it. I think it might have been better to hang at present arms there. Like a nice double vert stop into a strong present is kind of nice. Yeah, I'm always a fan of OTHs to walk. Good hells whip. Good placement for it too. Kind of gives you a nice angle for all the judges. What do you think about that? It's an interesting stance to be in a half step here, to stop the half step and focus. It feels like you are stopping to focus. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if that footwork doesn't lead anywhere, and it doesn't look like it does. Right? It kind of goes into the rear. I'd rather see like feet together for it, or a slow pivot while the mechanic's going on. I do like the idea though. I think there's something to it, to like, it's something different for sure. Good. Also great angle there. Everyone, all the judges from wherever they're at can see that really clearly. Cross deck makes it very hard for them to say you didn't cover enough ground, so that's good. I wanted that to lead somewhere for sure. I actually wanted both of these things to lead somewhere. So you get ready for a pass and review. There. And it looks like you're going to do some sort of pass and review mechanic. But you walk away from it to open the bolt. Which that needed to be like something. Good side, Ninja? All right, walking waterfall. Oh, good Andre stuff. Great job taking that like beat for beat. I think that was a great addition to your routine. Was that Crazy Legs? Naraya's on the Circle Library video for it, I'm pretty sure. There we go. I've used that one. All right, I really like this. This was a solid routine. I think this was appropriate for the skill level, and it showcased a lot of how you're thinking about things, which is to your varying pace, you're playing footwork, you're throwing in some showmanship stuff. I think this was overall like on the higher end of stuff. So, I think what's holding this back is going to be like difficulty of tricks. I do feel like, when was this posted? Six months ago. So this is actually a last season vid. So yeah, I feel like you're going to want to showcase just a higher difficulty caliber. And more commitment. I think they were like certain beats that were a little bit off, and there were certain times where like you went for something but you didn't commit all the way. Like really film yourself doing some of your showmanship stuff and like really commit to some of these motions. But the diversity of maneuvers that you were going for, I think went really well. All right, let's catch up with chat. All right, nothing in chat. So let's watch the stick vid, right? So this is from Singapore. So they, just have like issues with rifles sometimes. Sometimes they have what they have. Right now they just have a stick. So I think it's going to be interesting in the sense of how this translates to the stick. I haven't seen any of this, but let's give it a watch. And if you guys have anything in chat that you want to share, upload it to YouTube and then throw the link into chat, and we'll tack it onto the stream. Really requesting stuff from this season. I really want you guys to have the input for this season, so that way we can build this up to Daytona Nationals and just make this the most killer Daytona. Team stuff is good. Remember, it's a public forum, right? So if your team is trying to keep their mechanics hidden and secret, you don't want that, right? But whatever you got going on. I will say off the rip, it looks like your mouth is open, and I can't tell. I don't think that's video quality. Yeah, so you're going to want to, like, for American style drill especially, it's going to work on the mouth being closed. Here's something, too, a lot of people don't think of. Handpins, a lot of our manuals have the handpins with the thumb to the side of your pants. That's good. That's like what the manual says, but you can actually make that a lot better. if your thumb's to the seam of your pants, but your pinky is like out, it looks a little off. If you rotate your hands so both your thumb and your pinky touch the side of your leg, it really straightens your arm and shoulders, and it gives you a really strong appearance. Yeah, you see, that's technically right, but you can make that much better. So with the stick, I can see certain things. Like here, you prime the catch like you're waiting for it. Oh, way too early, right? Allow there to be that moment of mysteriousness where it's like, oh, is he going to catch it? And then you snap it out of the air at the last second, right? Good, almost lost it. All right, stuff like here, right? After the varial, once it's in your hands, you don't need to look at it anymore. And this entire time, you're staring at it the whole time. You could really elevate every aspect of your drill by like looking past it, right? The what your hands are doing is almost inconsequential. Your hands know what they're doing. You know, you just have to trust yourself and learn how to teach your hands that they know what they're doing. It's a good segment though. I like the idea of the footwork. If you smooth it out, I mean, obviously you're stumbling a little bit. So if it's smoothed out a little bit, you'll be good to go. All right, so this is a scary thing. For those of you that do an OTHs, it's really common to bounce up and down as the rifle is bouncing up and down. You see this kind of body motion that's like up and down. How to fight that is that you're going to like dig your toes into the ground and like twist your feet out so that you put strain on your ankles. This tightens up the entire lower part of your leg from above the knees down. And that makes it so you don't bounce around. It's really hard to do that during OTHs, so take your time with it. But that's how you want to fight that. It's with your toes. Good. Yeah, I think a lot of those little small details that people don't think about definitely are what's going to help the most. I liked a lot of your flow segments. I think flow is definitely your strength. I would try and add a little bit of ceremonial elements. And I would save maybe one varial. I think I really liked how you did the varials in general. I would, you know what I would do? I'd like focus a little on the footwork to make that really accentuate the varials. I think that's what's up. All right, Michael, good. We're going to do Manuel's and then yours. You were struggling to figure out what the notes meant from FLDC. Could I send you that routine? You could send the routine. Go ahead. So, at FLDC, let me see what I can do here. I don't know if I have a drawing program or not. You have 3 columns. It's body, rifle, and composition. If I like something, you got like a check mark. If I didn't like something, you got a dash. And I tried to keep it roughly together, but I didn't have a ton of space. So, but the B stands for body, the R stands for rifle. So the body's going to be hand pins, it's going to be bouncing, it's going to be steps, it's going to be like falling over, that sort of thing. The rifle's going to be like catching a big thing, throwing a big thing, strong stops, etc. And then composition was something new that I did. Usually I would write down everything that you did in inspection segment, a flow wall, etc. I didn't have the space because I had the head judge sheet. So instead, I tried to do anything that was like special, anything that was like, oh, that went over to composition. So that's how to read my score sheets for FLDC. Solos on the high school level are generally 2 to 3 minutes, and on the world championship, like post high school level, it's 3 to 5. Wyatt, send it to drilldojo@gmail.com. All right, Manuel. All right. Champion. The overall post-high school champion of FLDC. Manuel. Beating me, by the way. I got 3rd place. Nice. Great positioning on that. If you keep drilling like that, you're gonna get ripped. You're definitely drilling to the extent of like understanding the rifle. And you don't get me wrong, I'm not about to call you weak. But if you get super jacked between now and like February, I won't be able to tell that it has the weight it has. But you are handling it very well. It's for showmanship. At WDC, let these moments sit a little bit, right? That's your point. Take a break. Someone cheered for you before they finished cheering, before they finished like having the moment with you, right? You just connected with your audience. Let that connection happen for a couple of seconds, right? It's like when you're watching an action movie and there's an action sequence that's like an hour and 20 minutes long in a 2-hour movie, and you're just like, I get it. I need something else for a little bit. The something else comes in those quiet moments. You don't want to let them drag too long, but you do want to let them happen. In section segments are really good for when you need to catch your breath. They don't generally get the audience invested, so you throw them halfway through the routine. Catch your breath, get the points and ceremonial duties, and people forget about it by the end of it. It's good. Footwork is... So the flow segment is good. The rifle work is good. I want the feet to be a little bit more intentional here. That was like too wide of a step. That was too uncontrolled. That was too close. That was too wide. That was too close. That's off plane. That's too wide. That's fine. Too wide, right? So in that whole segment, footwork, everything else was fine. But only half the components were effective. Good. Strike that harder. Like there's I feel like there's a moment that could have been like built into it a little bit more. Um there's a thing in animation where you don't want something to go from point A to point B at one consistent pace. That looks jarring. You want it to have this like slow build and then a snap. And that's how you accentuate power and punch. This was a steady pace from point A to point B. I think it would help to learn those micro beats of like small snap.
You will be vilified by it. Now must be our moment.
So we're down to like small moments, right? It's the small things to, but this is just WDC prep, right? The feet opening hurts. Good.
For action.
Oops.
Time to answer humankind's greatest challenge.
So I like how it ended, but up until it ended here. So again, OTH segment. Let the audience have their connection. Your hand waits out for it too long, and it looks like it's a mistake, even though when it comes in, it's fine. I still would put a small mark under body. You're gonna have to make that more seamless. You're probably gonna have to pin it, and then like let a small gap open up so the rifle can fit underneath in order to pull that off. If you do that, you're gonna be super solid. I think that's a little bit of an awkward angle to give the head judge. It shows too much left and right movement. You probably want to give them your shoulder instead of the back. Every time you ike, you lean hard out the way.
Sir, this is my routine. This routine is dedicated to my younger brother. It's not their principal mission. Any part of sir. Permission granted. Carry on. Thank you, sir. No sling, no blow.
Makes a lot of sense in the context of what happened in Daytona, and I think that's strong because you had a lot of like Dunedin people around you. You know, something like that. If you're drilling with the sling during the time you're drilling, so it wouldn't make sense outside of the context. In context, it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There's like no problems with what you're doing with the rifle. And what you're doing with the rifle is phenomenal. You know, you did a lot more work than I did and beat me by like 8 points. And that could have been a lot bigger if you like monitor your footwork and your hand pins. And some of the leans. You're showcasing your leans toward the judge at an angle where they can see it clearly. Where if you like present your shoulder, they're not going to see it clearly. But like, I can tell the rifle has some heft and some weight, which isn't always a good thing for bladed drill. But like you handle it very well. I feel like you're showcasing that you understand how the rifle spins. And so I think most of the work between now and Daytona is going to have to be learning how to make a show, right? Because at WDC is a little bit different. In Daytona Nationals, it's a lot more about like showcase what you got and get off the deck. For WDC, 3 to 5 minutes gives you a lot of time to connect. And I think that's kind of a missing component a lot of people have. You're connecting with the judges in 3 minutes to 5 minutes that you don't have time to in 2 to 3 minutes. But yeah, deserved win. Very good job. Yeah, JJ was my pick for Driller's Choice. So I've got Paul, Nicholas, and Wyatt. Yes. So you guys are added to the queue here. Let's see. Cool. I love the showmanship routines. They don't win, but they feel good. All right, Michael. Here we are. Driller's Choice, high school level. Michael, what kind of feedback are you looking for? Because you got me. You got my scores. Well, there we go. Are you able to read the score sheet okay? Routine composition is choppy. You need to gain weight. What grade are you in? I'm going to move chat over to the other screen here. Senior, okay. Our last chance at a title. 08 was my graduating year. It's funny seeing you wear an 08 shirt. I like what you guys are doing at Flow State, by the way. Alex, you were born 06? I'm about to be teaching people who were born when I graduated high school. So that's fun. Good bearing there. All right. I actually don't have a ton of critique thus far on like what you're doing and how you're doing it. I think if you go, let's see here, 90% pace. No, that's too slow. All right, so you got to slow down by about 5%. And in doing so, focus a lot more on what your hands are doing, what your body's doing. Tighten your abs, right? There's a lot to drill that's very like duck swimming underwater kind of deal, right? And I think if you're 5% slower, you can accentuate that you're doing a lot of things right a lot better. Right? That came out of nowhere. There was no expectation of that. And I think that's actually like not a great design. I want to know it's building to that, right? Yeah, a little extra muscle mass definitely won't hurt. But learn how to like tighten your abs so that your core isn't like moving as much, right? You want to, if the abs are like the rod that sticks through your body, and if the rod can't bend, then your body can't bend, right? It really is just like the kind of footwork that's like, just get under it. I don't know if there's any, like, it's, you know, you just want to make it a little bit cleaner, right? So this is one of those ones that it took me a while to like figure out if it's a 360 or 540. And the way most people do it, it's going to be a 360. If you want to plate it as a true 540, then your back needs to be facing it and the rifle needs to hit both hands at the same time. And that's the way to do it. So from release to here, you do a varial, and then you like try and to adjust into the 540, which great picture right here. I would just do it like it's a varial and then like pivot your full back to it. If you do a varial, and so you take that right foot over left and then left foot back around, and then you do like a hard 90-degree pivot, it's probably going to be your best. But it's not a trick in my repertoire yet, so. But do you see how like you're watching it like it's a varial, and then you're like backing off at the last second to try and convince me it's a 540? What I need to know is that you've always known it was a 540 and that you're ready for that to be a 540. Right? So it's not here and then turn into it. It's like you gotta be back for it. But, you know, that mechanic itself is kind of emerging from the last couple of years. So we'll see how anyone kind of metagames it and refines it. Yeah, 5% slower. Accentuate your segments. So I think there's no clear... I couldn't really figure out what your segments were, right? So when I judge for routine composition, I'm looking for certain segments. I'm looking for a flow wall. So a lot of times there's like one strip of the pad that people will flow on. Looking for an inspection segment. I'm looking for a big trick segment. I'm looking for a footwork showcase segment. I'm looking for an OTH segment. I'm looking for a marching segment. I'm looking for a wild card segment where it's just something that takes me by surprise. I don't feel like you had any segments. Generally on each of these segments, when I script for myself, I'm like, this is my flow wall segment, this is my varial segment, this is my X, Y, and Z segment. And at the end of it, I pause. I do a chapter break, right? And so a routine is going to be like 7 or 8 chapters. But that's a nice reading short story, you know? So I feel like if you like define... For high school, I would say 5 or 6 chapters of how you're operating the pad. you're going to have much better luck, right? So like right here, you got to the corner, you crossed pad, got to the corner, nothing's changed about your style, and then moved over this way. And I haven't really connected like any piece of this for composition, right? It's not thematic in the whole. It's just, this is Michael's drill all the way through. Does that make sense? All the pieces are there. I would just put it together, try different ways of putting it together. All right, Paul, if you're still around. I've drilled in like 1,000 spaces that look just like this. Paul, if you're in chat, tell me a little bit about yourself. What grade you in? What style do you like? What drillers do you look up to? And what are your goals this season? And what your skill level is. If you're qualified with the dojo, tell me what your skill level is. Orange sling, okay. I was thinking either red sling and you're doing a lot of orange sling stuff that you're comfy with, or orange sling and you're like branching into red sling. So that's, you're on pace for sure. You're using a helix. Is this a heavier helix or a lighter helix? Your marching is on point. That little subtle marching stuff makes such a big difference in your score sheet. NGA kit, not helix, okay. Yep, okay, that's a D-mail for sure. When you're comfortable, you're really comfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, you're really uncomfortable. I think that's kind of what I've noticed about your drill. Because I couldn't tell if you were red or orange sling certified, because the orange sling tricks you're very comfortable with. You know, your structure is generally pretty good. There's some small instances where you do follow it, especially when I feel like you're branching from team manual, you like are more invested in looking at it. See how your kind of head traced it down. Things like there was a double earlier where like you were really kind of like searching for it. Yes, somewhere over here. Right, so that double where you're like really uncomfortable when searching for it, you know, you can throw doubles looking straight through without ever looking at the rifle, right? And so I think if you're looking for ways to elevate, like you've got some core components that like some drillers literally never get. And so there's a strong backbone to work with, a strong fundamentals backbone to work with here. Um, Obviously there's like you can tell based on the curriculum how much farther there is to go on tricks. That's a really like creative salute. I like that a lot. So you're in a good spot. You're in a really good spot. Um, you know, your goal between now and April is to learn as many tricks as possible. And when April 1st hits, you take everything you're uncomfortable with and you scrap it from your repertoire and you work only with the ones you're comfortable with. No stretch tricks at all, because that's the big thing that I've noticed is that when you're comfy, you're real comfy, and that really shines through your whole routine. So push yourself. You don't have until May to get a solo ready if you're going to Daytona Nationals. You have until April to decide what tricks you're doing, and then you've got to put what you're comfy with together. That's what I would say. Katz Davidson, that makes sense. Cowan, trying to put yourself out there in community. Yeah, I'd say you definitely have that ceremonial flair. Learn a really nice inspection segment and learn a really nice OTH segment. If you can get double skips, I would really, really try and grind out into double skips on OTHs. And then look up some ceremonial team mechanics. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do with ceremonial team mechanics. Let me see if I can find... that won't be... Yeah, okay. So, like, there's some stuff that happens. This was my old team with the Coast Guard Honor Guard, where there's, like, flares, and slaps, and hits to the body that if you want to compete with, like, strong drillers, you're going to want some of these, like, right? You're going to want a little bit of that flair to it. I like the lo-fi putting the thunder right at the right time. So learn a little bit about that, like, what makes that flair kind of work, and then try and find creative ways to input it, because you're not going to be able to generally go toe-to-toe with a lot of these drillers on tricks by the time Daytona rolls around, but you'll blow them out the water on footwork and precision, and that sometimes is just all you need. All right, Nicholas. Another FLDC? It's a good start here. Nice. I love different looking two-hand spins.
Hey!
All right. You're 80% there. On the goods,
You can make his
I think
vilified by it. Now must be our
you have a lot of stamina and you have a lot of flow in your repertoire. I could tell that you generally did not repeat flow segments, but it felt like you did. The flow was a little too samey across the board. So the highlight moments were going to be your 540 for sure, but like also like just the double like the things that broke up flow. So no matter what you're doing on flow drill, flow is a beautiful sentence until it goes too long and then it's a run-on sentence. And a run-on sentence is really hard to read and comprehend and understand at the end of it, and it kind of takes you a little too far. The other side of it is that power is defined by how sudden the rifle stops, which does imply that it's been flowing at least a little bit, right? I think the 80%, 10% of that 80%, I'd say 10% needs to come from the body, 10% needs to come from the rifle, but more so like what you're doing with it. More punctuation points, more big stops, more BTBs, more intricate arm hits and stuff. Like there's definitely stuff that was there, but moved too fast too, right? Over in this corner. Okay. So, you know, when so real quick while we're going to rewatch some of this video, that other 10% that's the body is things like the little steps, the hand pin that's missing, the hand pin moving slow, right? So there's two, if I was holding a rock and I dropped a rock, there's two ways for it to the ground. First way is that if I just let go, gravity will take it. But the second way, which has a lot more literal impact, is if I take it and I throw it to the ground. Your hand pins are done by gravity. Gravity takes your hand and hand pins it for you. What you need to do is pretend your fist is a rock and you need to throw that rock into the ground. Right? To see, like right there, I think exemplifies it. You do hit the hand pin, but you actually have time to hit a good hand pin, but you have to throw the rock. Right? That left hand. And the way you move the rifle showcases a lot of like extra effort. It's just the way you move your body when the rifle's not in it does not showcase the extra effort. I love this thunder that always hits the right moment. That moment needed like a second segment to really showcase that you're like using your arm. It's a good arm hit, but it happens just too fast. But yeah, all this flow kind of ends up being samey. But I could see so many good ideas here too. So this one's going to be a little bit more of like a toolkit. You're going to need to like tool it a little bit. If you've got any like younger siblings, ask for their feedback on it. And that feedback don't pay attention to what they actually say. What you need to pay attention to is how their attention is kept. If you can keep their attention, you're good. And if you can't keep their attention, you'll need to like adjust something. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I want to see you resubmit for November or December's routine review stream. All right. Well, we got one more here. If anyone else would like to be included in the routine review stream, and get a little bit of feedback about either their solo or their teamwork from just this year, go ahead and send it. If you're watching this on the VOD, feel free to send it for. I want to try to do this once a month, just like the routine review, just like the qualification streams. Okay. So if you're interested in getting some of that feedback, this is going to be kind of a regular thing for at least the season, and at least I hope.
Hey, start.
All right, Wyatt, good luck. Dan, I'm trying to do routines, pretty much just routines. Put your practice into routines. But I think, so yeah, let me give you a little bit of like thought process behind this. I've noticed that I do work for the drill community and it solves one problem and creates a problem somewhere else. And that's been a very routine thing for the last 15 years of doing this. And so when it was independent drill, it was putting all these tricks out there, but not really teaching people how to do them properly. So we ended up with like a big crisis in people trying tricks out of their league and not being able to do them. The Drill Dojo put it into curriculum, and now we don't have that problem. Unfortunately, the problem we have is that everyone kind of looks the same, right? And so a lot of people look back to that 2009, 2012 era where everyone had a very different style. And a big reason for that was that we all were making it up as we went. So that's what the style guide is to address, and that's what this is to address. This is meant to address the same-ish looking things that everyone's going through by trying to encourage people to look at avenues to do things differently. This is good. Yep, good. Perfect pace changing.
Sir, Cadet Gould representing Slow State Drill. Yeah. Drill deck, sir. Carry on. Thank you, sir. You got Wyatt.
I appreciate that, Dan. Now, this is just an introduction, trying to get used to the vibe. Figure out what these are really supposed to be. I got a late start on it too, so 10:30 out here on the East Coast. Wyatt, this is really solid. What did you end up placing? You've got those little details that I was talking about. So on the first, like early on, I was talking about how in animation it shouldn't go from point A to point B at a steady speed. You've got those details where like you kind of whip it, like this right here, that right there where you like kind of lean into it and then finish the turn real fast. You snap it. That has a lot of impact. This is really good stuff. If I had to make a critique thus far, it's really just like, hey, go rip off Colin Morgan style. I think if you rip off like Colin's stuff, your execution level and like the way you drill would match that really well. Yeah, that's great. Very nice. Ooh, hard angle. Yeah, those OTHs are really hard live. Very nice. All right. Let me think about this. All the mechanics are good. All of what you do with the rifle is good. I think you'll probably need to step up the difficulty. I don't recall seeing a ton of aerials. Maybe I'm wrong here. What I do feel like is that even though you had the triple skips, like the rifle never felt like it did more than like a triple. If you can hit some sort of quint somewhere, I think that would add an excitement. There's an excitement level is really what it is. Yeah, there's a good varial. Okay, so there were definitely varials here. I think really what's tripping me off is that, or tripping me out, I don't know what the expression is. Yeah, that was excellent. It just didn't feel like it did more than like triples. Even though you might have some quads in here. Let's see. First, you had to switch to heavier setup, so the routine gets worse as it goes. Okay. I was thinking that yeah. I was going to be surprised if this didn't podium. There's really, really solid stuff in it. Hit a huge aerial at some point. I think that's really all it needs is a huge aerial. Don't, hit whatever you can get without leaving your heels off of the ground or bending over and destroying the catch. But this is solid. You've got those smaller mechanics that make a big difference. And it's hard to see here, but like, watch your eyes. A lot of judges just look at eyes. Right there, you don't need to be looking. Right? And I can't really tell outside of that. Very small stuff. Your hand pin comes out here. Right there. Bounces in, and then it hangs lazily. Make sure that you pull the pinky back. Right? It's time to stop thinking about what the rifle is doing and definitely start thinking about what the body's doing. And it's going to be those small details. Those things that, like, take several watches to, like, really get. I've seen the double, triple, quad skip. People want that. They want to do that for sequencing, and I just don't think it works. My personal opinion is do the best, highest skips you can do. I just do that. The build-up feels too unprepared to me. It feels to me when people do a build-up segment, the reason single, double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, sextuple, septuple worked was because nobody can count higher than a 5 aerial, right? And so I needed to accentuate what I was doing, especially because, like, at that time, especially, quints were rare and no one had done 6 and no one had done 7. So to, like, push that boundary twice as much, I needed everybody to know exactly what I was doing. When it's quads, though, everyone can read a quad generally. And so I say go for it. Just go for the highest you can do consistently, and then just do that. You can like always pop a quad at your last one, but do the triple skips, and then your like final one is a quad or something. It's kind of like people do. Sometimes people will submit qualifications where they're doing like triple rising sun exits, and they'll do a single and then a double and a triple. And I take it, but like it feels to me like you need the warm up, so to speak. And I think a lot of times you do, right? And so as a judge, I think I would rather just see you go for it. But yeah, the aspects of your style that work are the aspects of your style that like really, really work. The subtleties, I don't have a lot of critique for that. The showmanship, that varial in the corner was a big moment. There was a cross plane. Crossplay. Okay, so yeah, Santino, but like the way you go into it makes it look like it's a full varial. Very nice. That makes it look very low effort. Well, not low effort. Like it didn't take you a lot of effort to do in a good way. Watch for micro adjustments. I think that's a big thing in your drill. Is there's tons of small adjustments. But yeah, this is a deserved first place. Yeah. All right, you have any questions while we're here? If not, we're gonna head off stream. We'll do. So we got what do we got? We've got the next qualification stream coming up on October 24th, and then we will set the next. I'm gonna set the next review stream for November 6th. Routine review. All right, in my calendar for November 6th. Some tricks you would get rid of, saying you took similar routines to Nats. Get rid of is an interesting question. I'd swap. Okay, so you had a varial segment. And you did Floridians twice. I'd swap one or two of these varials for a big trick, for like a big aerial. Just triple rising sun exit and then a quint or something. Yeah, the rifle does. So here's something interesting, right? Flying Floridians are like triple lefts, right? But because your hand is up when you throw it, it actually looks like it's a lot less. And so you want to create more distance from your body to the rifle, and that's going to be really hard to do in varials, especially because a lot of times your hands are going to be up. And I think that's kind of what makes everything on your style look like it's not more than a triple, even though there might be like a quad or two in here. It's that like the distance from when your hand is up and then the rifle doesn't kind of create a gap. So yeah, split your varial segment up a little bit. The OTHs are good. I always like OTHs at the end too. Skull Crusher. I mean, it's good angle. I couldn't tell you missed that when I was from this angle, so that's good.
Now must be our moment for action. The time to answer humankind's greatest challenge is now.
I think we are reaching a critical point where side tosses on your outro are going to be considered tiresome. Everyone does it for a 540. The Skull Crusher is a nice twist on it, but the person who figures out what belongs there will win the next competition. Yeah, I would move away from side tosses for your pre-report out. It's now becoming like an expected format. Yeah. What else you got for me? Alex, I like the YouTube videos because YouTube, I don't like to preview these, and YouTube will do their moderation for me. And also I can tell right off the rip when it comes into my inbox that it's for YouTube, and that it's a routine. So I would really appreciate a YouTube link. Palm sweat. Wear gloves. You might want to check out like ceremonial gloves if that's maybe something of your style. But that's why I wear the bicycle gloves that I wear. It's for palm sweat. Helps with palm spins quite a bit too. I would learn palm spins. I think you could actually like do pretty well with palm spins. This isn't a routine review. I just want to pull up Colin's stuff. I want to kind of see how it fits. I want to check that assessment there. Kind of like build a little bit of like a difference of like what makes Colin's stuff work. Because he's my favorite driller right now. The bearing, impeccable. The like body posture, impeccable. You can see me excited in the back. Footwork's very intentional. That he had that moment, that like pre-snap. It's the side steps. No one really does sidestepping the way Colin kind of works around a small area. Right, pull from Colin. I think you guys match up really well. You can't keep the gloves on your hands. You got to get like a smaller glove, probably like a mediums. I don't know if I lost signal or anything, but I am going to head off stream here. So if you are still here. Oh, the palm spins. Yeah. Yeah. If you wear gloves, you're going to feel them kind of stick really nicely. I would seriously check out some bicycle gloves. See how far that gets you. All right. Well, that's it for stream today. If you're looking to submit for next month, it's gonna be November 6th. You know, put in a lot of hard work. We're gonna get everyone ready for Daytona here. This is not just for soloists, by the way. If you got teams, if you got anything you want, as long as it's drill related, we'll do it. Now, Dan, it's a late stream. I know it's a late stream. I've been having a crazy life. I haven't even mentioned half of it. So, but I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for watching. We'll return to our normally scheduled videos next week. And happy drilling.